Thanks, Lucy. And I'm not sure whether Haley's with us. Haley, is it just me, or Haley, you're here as well?
It's just you, Jeremy.
Okay, no worries. I was tracking you down. So, yeah, go to the slides if you like. Haley and I have been co-chairs for this working group that has brought together the past Working Group 3 and Working Group 4 that has had a combined purpose, I guess. One was initially, Working Group 3 was focused on the website and developing up the case studies, and Working Group 4 was on the knowledge side of it in terms of building guidance to support and specify and help understand how we determine what is requests for low embodied carbon materials to be used on our projects. So we've kind of brought those two working groups together in terms of a common set of purposes, really to define both common embodied carbon language and develop resources to support the industry on making better decisions towards low embodied carbon materials. So it has a mix of the Working Group 3 and 4's Working Group members, and it really is a collective mix of construction, consultant, government, lawyers, research institutions. So it's a very, and suppliers. So it's a very broad mix of people. I think we have something like 65 odd in that group, but we're only getting about 15, maybe up to 20 at a time. So participation is our key challenge to engage with the working group. So the working group has had a number of projects to date, from the case studies. I think we're up to 21 now, but Alex, you might correct me if it's more than that now. There's also an embodied carbon dictionary, or MECLA dictionary, that we produced that helped to really define some of the key terminology. We're working on some legal language and some commonality around that, because we've identified a bit of a gap in terms of how requests are made from both clients as well as into supply chain, and how do we actually do that in a way that we understand what the requests are and how to manage some of the risks in that process. To that end, we're working on our guidance material and looking at that at a very broad level. So as it says there, it's about helping to specify, procure and supply low embodied carbon materials, but it's doing so in a way that looks at the breadth of the project life cycle and the different decisions that might need to be made depending on which stakeholder you are and at what stage of a project you're at. And we've got a bit of a hint of a spotlight event that we'd like to have later in the year, a bit of a hypothetical on where does your risk lie about how do you actually achieve your embodied carbon targets when lots of different dynamics are at play on a project. Next slide. To give a bit of an insight in terms of the guidance, it's really trying to structure that to help identify the key project phases and the key steps, actions, resources, toolkits, and bringing into play, as Anne said, the Working Group 1 work, to make sure that you can help make better decisions depending on which stakeholder you are and at what stage of a project you're in. So that's certainly a lot of opportunity for us to build out the kind of things that might be relevant for those at an early project initiation phase, through to those that are actually in the weeds and procuring and needing, clearer specifications for particular material products. But there's lots of different decisions to make, and we also acknowledge that there are both not only embodied carbon, but now how do you marry in the things like circular materiality considerations that actually can help to reduce the embodied carbon impact of materials as well. I think there's a third slide here. Oh, there isn't. Okay. With that probably is my just request to other working groups to highlight that we are looking for input across the various resources and templates and other things that are being looked at very specific material levels, and very keen to make sure that we're building that knowledge base for MECLA and actually the guidance that helps project make better decisions at whatever stage and at whatever stakeholder is involved with that with projects at that stage. So hopefully that gives a bit of an insight as to what Working Group 3 and 4 are up to. Thanks, and over to Joe, I believe.